Shabbat Shalom, Cantor Michaeli.
Shabbat Shalom, Rabbi Schwartzman.
Shabbat Shalom to this wonderful, beautiful congregation and community. Bruchim Habaim, welcome. So good to have you here on this really beginning of autumn. Did you get your coat out to come tonight? I had to. I love it though. How about you? It's beautiful. It's really, yes. Thank you, Jenny. Yeah. It's wonderful to see amongst many, many people, including the families of 3 young adults stepping into the new role of B'nai Mitzvah. We welcome all of you. In addition to the family celebrating a new baby, we welcome all of Sophie's family. We also welcome just a wonderful community of founding and pioneer families of Temple Rodef Shalom. It just so happens that a number of remembrances, yahrzeits, of some of the early members of Rodef Shalom happen to have yahrzeit tonight, and so we are blessed to have quite a number of past presidents and quite a number of our founding or early leading families. So there feels like a lot of specialness in the sanctuary. I also will mention, as we always do, that I know while many of us come to the sanctuary with a great deal of joy, our B'nai Mitzvah families and others, the baby, and we also know that there are members of our congregation who are newer mourners. We are here to support you as well, and we hope the joy of the many people in the sanctuary will be a buoy for you, that you'll feel supported and you'll know that love is ahead and happy things are ahead, because we're here. We've all walked many paths, and here we are again. So welcome to everyone. What did I forget to mention?
Nothing at all. That all sounds really beautiful. It's good to be with you all.
I think, as is always the case, the music is going to be inspiring and uplifting. And we're grateful to you, Cantor Michaeli, for leading us. Where are we going next?
Whether the music tonight is new to you, old to you, familiar to you, I hope you'll find something that inspires you to sing along. How good it is to be here together with whatever we bring, whatever we hold. Let's sing Hine Matov. The words are in your program. Try that with us.
Hine matov
Umanaim
umanaim
Shabbat kulanu gam yachad Hine matov umanaim Shabbat kulanu gam yachad Umanayim,
Umanayim.
Shabbat kulanu gam yachad. Hine matov,
Hine matov.
Umanayim,
Umanayim.
Shabbat kulanu gam yachad. Gather us in peace, gather us in joy, gather us in strength, we are one.
Join us.
Gather us in peace, gather us in joy, gather us in strength, we are one. Yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, 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 yadalai, lai, lai, lai.
Before we begin our service in earnest, before we welcome Shabbat with candle lighting, it's our custom to pause and be a congregation and be a community, turn to people around us and say, Shabbat Shalom, how was your week? How are you feeling? Welcome to our congregation if you're brand new. So spin around, reach across the aisle, say hello to each other. Let us form some community.
It's so great to be together celebrating Shabbat. So wonderful to hear everyone greeting each other with such joy. I hope that will continue after our service today. At this time, I'm really delighted to call up the moms of all of our B'nai Mitzvah to come and light candles. Aria's mom, Anya, Eli's mom, Allie, and June's mom, Lauren. Please come up and join us for the lighting of the Shabbat candles. If you'd like to follow along, we're on page 2.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and lives.
Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
you. Shabbat Shalom. Mazel tov. I'm delighted to now call up Sophie Albert. She's welcome to bring her parents with her if she'd like. Come on up, Sophie. Hi, Sophie. How's it going? Shabbat Shalom. So a couple of months ago, when you were smaller, because now you're big, you received a special blessing and a baby naming in your home with your immediate friends and family, right? By Rabbi Schwartzman. I know how special that was. And I also know how special this TRS community is to you and to your parents. And they wanted you also to have a blessing here, right? Here on this bima, where hopefully so many wonderful and exciting things will happen for your family over the course of your years. So, Sophie, I want to say a big mazel tov to you as we officially welcome you and bless you at Temple Rodef Shalom. A mazel tov to your parents, Jenna and Jason, and all of the friends and family who are here today, and especially to the grandparents who I know are streaming online. So, mazel tov, Cindy and Ron, and Abby and Steve. So, to mark this special moment, I want to begin by having Sophie's parents read the Shehechianu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu la'azman hazeh.
Amen. Thank you, Adonai, our God, for sustaining us and for bringing us to this incredibly special moment where we get to welcome and bless Sophie. So, Sophie, I want to talk a little bit about your name, about your English name and your Hebrew name. So your name, Sophie, is for Jason's grandmother, Susan, and Jenna's grandmother, Phyllis. And your middle name, Riley, is for Jenna's grandfather, Reuben, and Jason's great-grandfather, Leona. So you have a lot of people who are infusing you with light and goodness and joy through your name. And your Hebrew name, Shoshana Rachel Bat Moshe Yaakov V'Yafa Simcha. I know you're named after Jason's aunt, Sharon Rachel, whose Hebrew name was Shoshana Rachel. So we hope through all of those names, you'll bring so much joy and happiness and goodness to all who know you. And we're so excited to give you one more special blessing, our oldest blessing, a blessing that you'll receive on the most special days of your life. We'll give you tonight. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. May God bless you and keep you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka. May God look kindly upon you and always be gracious to you. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yaseim lecha Shalom. May God give you the greatest gift, the gift of peace, of wholeness, of shalom, and together we can say Amen and Mazel Tov. Simin Tov and Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, Simin Tov, Mazel Tov, Mazel Tov, Simin Tov, In the spirit of that joy, we welcome Shabbat with our Psalms of Kabbalat Shabbat beginning on page 12. Let us come into God's presence with praise. Let us raise a shout for God in song. Page 16. Samrud Adonai, Samrud Adonai Bechinor, Yain Amru Adonai bechinor v'kol zimra b'chatzot tzarot v'kol shofar hariu ifnei hamelech Adonai Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai 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 Yiram hayamum lo Tevel ve'yoshveiva Nehorot yimchau chaf Yachad harim yeroneinu Yai Lai 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 Yai Lai 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 Lai. In just a moment, we'll continue with Lecha Dodi on page 20. We'll sing verses 1, 2, 5, and 9. And when we reach verse 9, I invite you to rise as you're comfortable and turn to face the doors as we welcome in Shabbat. Lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad Hishme'anu el hamiuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shemo tiferet ve'litida Lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekavela Lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekavela Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha Ki hi mekor ha'beracha Merosh mikadem nasucha Sof ma'aseh b'machshavat techida Lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela Lecha Dodi likrat kala pene Shabbat nekabela Hitoreri ki va'orech kumi ori Uri shir Davidi kevod Adonai We remain standing for Baruch Hu, page 28.
And on page 30, our prayer for evening as you came in this brisk autumn air. If you're comfortable with the Hebrew, if you're familiar, won't you join me as we read together Ma'ariv Aravim. Baruch Ata Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro Ma'ariv Aravim, b'chokhma poteach she'arim, uvitvuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, umisader et hakochavim, b'mishmerotehem birakia kirtzono. Bore yom v'layla golel or mipnei hoshech v'hoshech mipnei or. Uma'avir yom umevi layla, umavdil bein yom uvein layla, Adonai tzivaot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch ata Adonai hama'ariv aravim. God shows the divine connection that we have through nature and beautiful nights like tonight. And our tradition also invites us to feel the connection that's unique to our people. Ahavat Olam on page 32. Let's read the English together. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch ata Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed.
Won't you please be seated and join us in chanting V'ahavta, which is on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבבך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו תותפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
As we make our way to the next prayer, which is Mi Chamocha, we think about its theme, which is redemption. And redemption, of course, has so many layers to it. It is what we strive for to make the world whole, to make individuals complete, safe. And on page, Mi Chamocha is on page 40, but there's a poem on 41. When I think about what is happening in our world today, when I think especially about Israel and about Gaza and our hope for redemption, our hope for peace, I turn to this poem which reminds us kind of what we're striving for, that the war end, that soldiers should come home, and the world will be at peace. So won't you join me in this English before we sing Mi Chamocha on page 41. Sing the song of men and women joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, a song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace.
Baruch atah Adonai, Gal Yisrael.
And perhaps we experience just that taste of redemption every week when we're together for Shabbat. Vishamru, a song of Shabbat, on page 44. I hope we'll go to that place, that momentary touchstone of what it feels like to be redeemed. Let us sing Vishamru together.
Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam beritodam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat ledorotam beritodam. B'nei uvein b'nei ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש שבת וינפש שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Please rise if you're comfortable for the Amidah, which begins on page 46. Adonai safatai tiftach ufi agit tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanorah Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekoneh Hakol Vezocher Chasdi Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Geula Livnei V'nehem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechayei HaKol Atah Rav Lehoshia Mashiv HaRuach U'Morid HaGashem Mechakel Chayim Bechesed Mechayei HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Berofei Cholim Umatir Asurim Umekayim Emunato Lishenei Afar Micha Mocha Ba'al Gevurot Umido Melech Melech Mebit Umechaye Umatmiach Yeshua Ve'ne'eman atah l'chachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai Mechayei hakol. Page 52. Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh Ukadoshim b'chol yom Yehallelu cheseda Baruch atah Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh. Please be seated. We turn to page 55, and on the top of that page, let's read together this poem that shares our hopes for Shabbat. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. and may this day fulfill its promise. Baruch atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat. We come now to one of our many prayers for peace as we think of all of those people and places who are seeking peace and wholeness. Let's sing together. We're on page 60. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Ki atah hu melech adon lechol hashalom. Ki atah Shalom, Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. V'tov be'einecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Tasim Le'olam. Let's take a few moments for personal prayer, private prayer. We'll come back together with another prayer for peace on page 62 in just a few moments. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. עושה שלום במרומיו, הוא יעשה שלום עלינו. Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. You guys sound great. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Oseh Shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh Shalom Aleinu. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom. Everyone comes into this space holding something different, joy, mourning, and many of us with prayers for healing of mind, body, and spirit for those we know and love. So in a moment, I'm going to share our synagogue Mishaberach list and then ask all of you to share any names that are on your minds and hearts tonight before we join together in the Mishaberach prayer, which is on page 253. So this evening, our synagogue community is thinking of Alon ben Barbara, Shlomo Avraham ben Nisim Vesora, Eleanor Berendrecht, Fuma Hana bet Hinda Yenta ve'Israel Pavel, Paul Chandler, Gertrude Kipnis, Alvin Liftman, Seth Lukash, and Moriah Tibor Shaw. If you have a name to add, I invite you to do so now. Holding all of them in our hearts, let's sing together on page 253 a prayer for refuah shlema for their healing.
Those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Before we come to the last section of our service, it's our custom for those of you who are guests from our B'nai Mitzvah family or others who are visiting to pause at this moment in service and share a little bit about where we are in our weekly Torah portion. And, I think many of you know, having just celebrated those high holidays and Simchat Torah, that we're just at the beginning. And as a matter of fact, this week we're reading the very famous Torah portion, Parshat Noach. And I wanted to share a little bit with you about this Parsha. You know a lot of it well, but maybe tonight a little bit of a new lens. As you know, the portion begins with a great story, right? You all know the beginning of the Torah story of Noah and the flood, right? The Torah portion begins, it also ends with a great story. Two stories, which you know well, Noah and the closing story of this Torah portion, which is the story of the Tower of Babel. Yes, I got some nods, that's good. Now, many people know them. They're very familiar. They're well-known, let's call them sacred myths. And you might also know that they both kind of end badly. Right? In both, thank you, Rabbi, over there, my colleague, in both, God is angry and frustrated, offended by the behavior of human beings, and in both, this displeasure leads to God's acts of destruction, like not so good. Okay. So Noah and the ark and the flood, a well-known story, right? God sees that the world is just filled with evil. The failings of that generation are explicit. They are written right there in Genesis chapter 6, and I quote, it says, the world was corrupt before God, and the land was filled with violence. God saw the world and the people who were lawless. All flesh had corrupted its way on earth. Don't say anything, Sam. I heard you. Wickedness, violence, degradation, perversion. This is the language of systemic moral failure, right? Okay. God, as we know, sees the need to absolutely destroy this unlawful brood and start again. And so we all know what happens. God brings the flood, destroying all humanity with the exception of Noah and his family and the animals, right? 2 of every animal. So that's the launch of Parshat Noah. But then there's the closing story, which is the story of the Tower of Babel, which not everybody maybe knows as well. This is the one where the people are working together to build a tower up to heaven, okay? Babel, in contrast to Noah's community, at least initially seems sort of idyllic. Because in chapter 11, so that's the end of this Torah portion, it says that the entire earth had one language and one common speech. And the people here are bent on construction, not destruction. Honestly, it's not entirely clear, at least from the very beginning, what their transgression is. Yet, from the Torah's point of view, Babel represents another serious wrong turn. Because like the opening story of this parsha, God is clearly displeased. As God engaged in destruction earlier with the flood, here too God destroys. God destroys the tower, dispersing the people and confounding them with different languages. Most significantly for us, immediately after the flood and immediately after Babel, God summons Abraham to start an entirely new chapter in the religious story of humankind. We're coming back to it, okay? So keep that in mind. Now, these 2 stories, which feel very different, but you can hear that they have a link. They're placed into one portion. They're these bookends. And at first glance, I bet maybe many of you think these 2 stories, do they have anything in common? I mean, we know they both end badly. But what else is it about these 2 stories that our ancestors chose to put them in the same Torah portion, right? And I'm going to suggest that they have something really interesting in common. Think about that. I'm going to take a little commercial break to note something interesting. You probably know this too, which is that both of these stories are rooted in history. We have archaeological evidence of the things of these 2 stories, right? I mean, you know your history about like Mesopotamia and Babylonia, and that we know that there were floods, significant floods. We also know, right, that so many peoples have flood myths, and they are very, very similar to the Noah story. And we also know from archaeologists that many peoples, especially in Babylonia, built towers. And they have found towers up to 300 feet high, which, think about that, you know, back in the day. 300 feet, that was mighty, mighty tall. So, like the Noah story, Babel also has roots in real-life historic experiences. But as you also know, our Torah is not really about history, right? It's not really about facts, right? It's about truths or values that help us take away lessons for our lives. So Noah and Babel may have historical roots, but as Jews, our job is to use these accounts to reflect on the human situation, to be curious about what we might take away to improve ourselves and our communities from these stories. So tales like these in our Torah are here because they represent what is for our community profound moral and social and political and spiritual truths about our situation, about the human situation as our tradition wants us to see it. So what does our tradition want us to see by putting these two stories in one Torah portion? Well, let's go back to that initial question. You know, how are these two things linked? So I was looking for the answer, and I found it in an unusual place. And some of you might nod your head for this, but not everybody. So when I was a kid, and also when I was in rabbinic school, and I was teaching Intro to Judaism, there was a book that a lot of people knew called The History of the Jews by Paul Johnson. Okay. Richard, thank you. I see The History of the Jews by Paul Johnson. Paul Johnson was a Catholic professor of religion who was fascinated with the Jews, and he wrote this book, and it became really a seminal history book that for example, in the 80s, I'm dating myself, okay, I was teaching Intro to Judaism, and that was one of our texts. And in an article about Paul Johnson, he is asked what drew him to Judaism. Why was he so enamored, this Catholic professor, with Judaism? And I'm going to quote what he said. There have been, in the course of history, societies that emphasize the individual, like the secular West today, and there have been other societies that placed weight on the collective, like communist Russia or China, for example. Judaism, he continued, was the most successful example he knew, I'm now changing the word, of that, he knew, that managed the delicate balance between both, giving equal weight to the individual and to the collective. Judaism was a religion of strong individuals and strong communities. This, he said, was very rare and difficult and constituted one of Judaism's greatest achievements. So may I suggest that this is the point of pairing these two stories. The very idea that Paul Johnson speaks about in terms of what Judaism offers us is set before us in the opening and the closing stories of this Torah portion, or I should say the opening, because I'm reading from right to left, and the closing stories of this Torah portion. So the flood tells us what happens to a civilization when individuals rule and there is no collective. Paul Johnson's point. When individuals act entirely independently, focused on their own needs, focused on their own desires, focused on only their view of how things should be, it's problematic, and God is displeased. Even Noah, who's the good guy in this story, when he hears about the flood, he doesn't actually talk to anybody else. He saves himself, the individual, and his family. Noah's generation, all of them, so the Torah says, is the first me generation out there, right? All individual, all the time. And then Babel actually gives us the opposite situation. This is a story of a society where the collective rules and individuals are sacrificed to that. This is the saga of a people who all speak and think the very same way. The communal goals have become more important than the individual needs. One philosophy exists, and no others are welcome. The tradition reports that when building that tower, if a brick fell, everyone would mourn. But if a person fell to his death, they would say nothing. This is also a problem. This is what God does not want. We know that both of these societies exist today. There are places all over the world where there is little rule of law or perhaps no stable governance system. There are also places where one group or individual holds all the power and crushes individuality. In our country, we see people who lean heavily on one or other of these mindsets. This story, ancient though it might be, is really not that far from our reality too, right? The Torah speaks to us today. It is remarkable. So clearly, Noah and Babel, though opposites, are linked. And this parsha is, as is so often the case, a commentary on the human condition and even on our human condition. There are individualistic cultures and there are collective ones. And when taken to an extreme, as here in the Torah, these communities crumble, they fall. Total individualism leads to anarchy and even violence. Should I say it again? No. Total collectivism leads to oppression and even tyranny. Should I say it again? You know that. So Paul Johnson, his insight turns out to be both deep and true. And as I mentioned earlier, at the end of the reading, after God destroyed at the end of the flood, started again, destroyed at the end of the tower, God starts again with Abraham, with an entirely new chapter. Here, Abraham was called to create a new form of social order that would give equal honor to both the individual and the collective, to personal responsibility and also the common good. This is our tradition at its best. This is what we must work towards in our community and in our country today. According to Professor Johnson, this blueprint is our Judaism's gift to humanity. But I think we all know that it's a blueprint, right? It's flat on the page, and it is our obligation to lift it up and make it real, right? The individual and the collective balanced perfectly. Perhaps we'll end with the words that many of us know as well, the words of the great Rabbi Hillel, who said, "If I am not for myself, who will be for me? But if I am only for myself, what am I?" To that, I think we can all say amen. Amen. Shabbat Shalom. And if you want to hear more, come back tomorrow morning when our young students will read Parshat Noach. It'll be wonderful. We come now, though, to the last part of our service. And we're returning to our prayer books to page 282, where you'll find Aleinu L'Shabeach. Our B'nai Mitzvah students, June and Arya and Eli, will stand with us at the Ark, and I'd like to invite all their fathers, Ulain, Stephen, and Joel, to come up and have the honor of opening the Ark. Won't you rise if you're comfortable standing as we sing Aleinu together? You guys, come on over. You need your packets. If you have your packets, stand with Kenner. Go ahead. You guys stand with Kenner Michael. Stand with Kenner Michael. Stand with
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגובהי מרומים, הוא אלוהינו אין אור, ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא.
Won't you please be seated? Come over here, you guys. Everybody together. You stand there. Arya, you guys. June, come on up. Okay, who's first? We're on page 287. You ready, Arya? Go for it.
May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding, loved each of us for the peace we bring to others.
May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand, but to conquer fear and doubt and despair.
Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas. and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace.
ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ויהיה אדוני אחד ושמו אחד.
We've come now to a moment of memory. We are on page 288. Our prayer book offers us some readings, poems, meditations to help us bring remembrance, those people we have loved and lost, into our minds, into our hearts. I'd invite you to take a moment to find a reading that touches you, that speaks to you. The readings are between 288 and 294. And after a few moments of individual time, we'll come together to name those people we're remembering on this Shabbat. Before we turn to sharing of names, speaking to especially those who are here in the first stage of mourning, I'd like to pause for a moment to mention very special situation, which is that one of our founding and early families of Temple Rodef Shalom, the Levin family, is here in full on this Shabbat. Their parents were really leaders in our congregation. Harvey Levin, your dad, was president of this congregation, and Barbara Levin, your mom, was president of Woders, and both of them were extremely involved in building this congregation, coming here at a time when there were maybe just 50 families, and now over 1,800 families. So how wonderful. The Levin family, who don't live here, have come back to Temple Rodef Shalom to observe their mother's 50th yahrzeit, to be with us. And so many other founding and pioneer families are here in the congregation. Some of them have yahrzeit also, and that worked out well. And that you're here, for example, the Ferris family, the Auerbachs are here, and just thinking about all those people, and how, when I first came here, they were all here to welcome me too. And I want to say, and those of you who know me well know I'm about to cry, how happy Rabbi Berkowitz would be that you're all here, and how his heart would be full, that the sanctuary is full, that we celebrated a baby, we celebrate 3 young people becoming B'nai Mitzvah, that we are overflowing with the most robust life of a congregation. And so thank you to all of our pioneers and our founders for being with us on this Shabbat and remembering beloved members of your family. We remember them too. And now we turn to our own yahrzeit list. We begin by extending our condolences to our temple members who have lost loved ones in the last month. They're in the period of Shloshim. We hope our community has been and will continue to be a source of love and support for all of you. On this Shabbat, we extend our condolences to Helen Alpert on the death of her brother David, and Fran Perlman on the death of her father William Brodsky. We extend our condolences to both Deborah Karplow and Jenna Burke, who have lost mom and grandmother Iris Kaplow. We extend our condolences to Hannah Moore on the death of her brother John Roberts, and Michael Rugel on the death of his dad, Robert Rugel. We mourn our temple member Richard Saferstein. To the Zimet O'Keefe family, we extend our condolences on the death of Paul Zimet, and to David Fish, we extend our condolences on the death of his mother, Carolyn Fish. And to these names, we add the names of people whose yahrzeits fall on this Shabbat. And as it is our custom, if you'd like to stand, we'd love to acknowledge, know you as a mourner, know we can go and give you a hug. To all these people, we extend our heartfelt remembrances, their family members: Benjamin Abramson, Barbara Altman, Leonard Ansell, David, Jacqueline Anthone, Joseph Auerbach, Harold Augenbraum, James Berkowitz, Helene Brooks, Saul Brooks, Mildred Brooks, Elaine Cohen, Donna Dansker, Zelda Ferris, Barbara Frizzell, Vivian Gans, Manny Gelb, Peter Gettinger, Esther Gleicher, Bob Musiker, Diane Goldman, Peggy Groff, Everett Gruber, June Harkaway, Alice Hecker, Jack Hellitzer, Roberta Katz-Sachs, Harriet Kessler, Gloria Liederman, Barbara Levin, Michael Levine, Mira Mallinger, Donald Mintz, Francis Moss, Anastasia Newell, Donna Oishi, May Pizer, Sidney Quint, Walter Raphael, Lisa Saperstein, Lenora Soborowski, George Schiller, Robert Siegel, Ruth Schechter, Bernard Schockett, Harry Silverman, Marion Simon Garmel, Ben Skall, Pearl Slatton, Harold Steinberg, Bessie Tucker, Goldie Weinberg, Sylvia Weisberg, Howard Weiner, Max Wolfberg, Edwin Zeitz, and Ziva Zeisman. We remember all of these people with great love. If you're bringing someone to our service tonight, someone you're thinking of, and you'd like to say that name, I hope you'll rise so that we know you're about to say a name. And also, if I mispronounce the name, I hope you'll say that name again. Nancy. Sir, I miss anyone? We want to support you, my friends, by standing shoulder to shoulder with you as we recite the Mourner's Kaddish. It's on page 294. 294, we read together. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah v'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei v'chaye chon v'yomei chon v'chaye d'chol beit Yisrael v'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi Shmei Rabba Mevorach, Umei Omaya, Yid Barach, V'yid Pa'ar, V'yid Tromam, V'yid Naseh, V'yid Ta'adar, V'yid Ta'alev, V'yid Ta'alal, Shmei D'Kudisha, B'rachu. Le'olam Mimko Birchata V'shirata, Tush B'chata V'nechemata, Da'almiran Be'alma V'imeru, Amen. Yehi Shloma Rabba Min Shemaya, V'chaim Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael V'imru Amen. O say Shalom, Huya say Shalom, Aleinu V'al Kol Yisrael. May the source of peace and love and support and comfort, kindness To everyone who's mourning, to everyone who's grieving, here and everywhere, and let us say amen. Amen. Won't you please be seated? I am so grateful to Raina Pratt, who has been a long, long time leader in our congregation, is currently one of our vice presidents. Don't forget your notes.
I got so excited about the program, I just was going to read from there. All right. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. It's so nice to see so many people. This is very exciting, and congratulations to the three of you. It's going to be an amazing weekend. You're all already off to a great start. On behalf of the TRS Executive Board and Leadership Council, I am so honored to welcome you to our worship service tonight. It's great to be together, whether you're in person or joining us via streaming. If you're new to Temple Rodef Shalom, it would really be a joy to welcome you properly and tell you more about our wonderful community. Please feel free to approach one of the clergy or me to say hello during the Oneg, the Shabbat reception after the service, which I believe you all tell me is in the social hall. Social hall. Please see the inside of your program for a selection of our many, many upcoming programs, really cool ones. There is a Palestinian writer and activist this coming Wednesday. The group is going to take a trip to Fiddler on the Roof, so the deadline for that's coming up. Fifth Friday Shabbat and dinner, and then it's the second annual Kumsit, so read all about that. Our entire program calendar and details can be found in the latest edition of The Connection and on our website. We hope to see you again soon, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you so much, Raina. As I invite all three of our B'nai Mitzvah to come join me over here, I'll invite everyone to rise as they're comfortable as we continue with Kiddush, blessing the sweetness of Shabbat on page 5. Come here, guys. Come here. Let's go. Here you go.
I was chatting with the kids, but did Raina mention the federal dinner? No. So we do have dinner for our furloughed federal workers. If you're here for our federal workers dinner, we welcome you. I'll be in dinner. And for those of you who are, as we all are, very committed to supporting our federal workers, just want to remind you that Meeting the Moment is a fund that has been supporting people who are really struck and hit by the problem that this situation has presented itself. So I want to remind you that exists for our community. Let's have those who are federal furloughed workers, we're having dinner together. Amen. Okay.
Amen. Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam,
Borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat k'dosho v'yahavahu v'ratzoyim hilanu zikaron le'maseh b'reishit yiduyot v'kina l'mikrei kodesh zeher tziyat mitzrayim kivanu v'charta v'yotanu kidashta mikol ha'amim v'shabbat kodeshecha ve'ahava u'ratzon hinchatanu Baruch atah Adonai mekadesh haShabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
Are we underage?
It's juice. You guys can go sit by your chairs, okay? We are going to continue singing the nigun, the wordless melody we began our service with. Please join us.
we have a meaningful, fulfilling, a joyful Shabbat, one from which we go out into the world to hold that balance, the value of the individual, the importance of the community. Shabbat Shalom.